Welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to explain a movie called The Son of Bigfoot. The movie opens up with Hairco and his guards chasing after a young man called Dr. Harrison. He kept running until he reached a dead end. Knowing there was no escape route, Dr. Harrison releases himself and falls to the waterfall below. In another scene, we see his wife, Shelley, and little son Adam. 12 years later, in high school, Adam is teased by jock bullies who spit bubblegum onto his head. He went to the bathroom and tried to take out the gum when his legs suddenly grew big, bursting his shoes. Adam got terrified and covered his legs with toilet rolls. As he walked out, the other kids in the school hallway began to say spiteful things about him. He discovers he can hear their little whispers loudly. The bullies saw him and chased him into the basketball training room. After beating him, they threw his bag into the basketball net. Adam's mom treats his injury at home and tells him to be careful. She decided to cut off his hair to get rid of the gum. But by morning, Adams realized his hair had grown back again. Horrified, he quickly does a quick trim at it and covers his head with a cap. When he was about to leave, his mother told him the cap was his father's. He takes it off, and his mother is surprised at the growth of his hair. So she allows him to wear it to school. Meanwhile, at Hairco, Wallace showed some men his works as he took them around his company, showing them the experiments he carries out on hairy creatures. He used their DNA to produce hair, and he tests it on a young boy. At school, Adam sat beside a girl named Eva in front of the principal's office, who suspended the bullies for fighting on school property. He issued Adams a warning. The principal asked him to remove his hat as they were not allowed on the school premises. When he removed it, he discovered his hair had grown longer. After school, the bullies waylaid him and snatched the hat from him. He grabs it back and runs away. Adam ran home, but the bullies followed him. They threw a stone at his window. After they left, Adam saw a hidden box containing letters from his dad. He was angry at his mom for lying to him. She had told him his father was dead. Shelley tried to explain her reasons, but he shut her off and went to his room. He looked at the piece of wood he took from the box, and the address was inscribed. So sneaked out on a quest to find his father. He begged a truck driver to give him a lift to the place. When they got there 5 next day, he discovered it was a thick forest. Walking into the forest, Adam began to explore the forest, but he heard a strange sound and ran away. His legs mistakenly step into a bear trap, and he falls off a cliff. At that time, a truck approached and came to a screeching halt as it saw the unconscious Adam. Suddenly, swiftly, a figure comes and takes Adam away. The truck driver checks his camera and sees a shadow of Bigfoot. He immediately finds the way to the public telephone and calls 911, but no one believes him, and last, he calls for an advisory switchboard to connect to Hairco. The Hairco found him at the location, and when they searched around the place, they found Adam's backpack that had his name on it. They traced his house, but found no one at home, as Shelley had left in search of Adam. But she couldn't get far as some of the Hairco's guards stopped her on the road. Adam opens his eyes to see a hairy creature staring down at him. Scared, he tries to run out of the window, but realized the place was on top of a high tree. The creature told him that he was his father and his name was Dr. Harrison. At first, Adam couldn't believe it, but when he saw his family photo, he believed that the Bigfoot was his long-lost father. Dr. Harrison said he had left because Wallace Eastman, the owner of Hairco Pharmaceutical Company, wanted to use him as a lab rat. He left to protect his family. Adam asked if he would also grow up to become a Bigfoot. Dr. Harrison told him it wasn't that bad. He told Adam he had healed his leg from the injury he had the previous day. Afterward, Dr. Harrison shows Adam his powers, super speed, echolocation, and the ability to speak to animals, and soon a loudmouth raccoon named Trapper, his pregnant wife Weecha, a woodpecker named Steve, and a speedy red squirrel named Tina. Then Adam saw a huge bear. He was afraid, but found the bear was just one of his father's jungle friends. The team soon plays a trick on two unsuspecting hunters. Adam and his father began having fun, from playing hockey to swimming and speed running. Adam asked his father to come back home, but Dr. Harrison explained that it was too dangerous as Hairco would always find him out. He goes on to tell the story of how it all started. He was a scientist and had noticed the rapid growth of hair on his body. When Mr. Wallace discovered the research, he asked Harrison to work with him. Harrison refused, and they broke into his lab and stole all his research. And that was when the problem began. Mr. Wallace started threatening the family, and Harrison had to leave so as not to put his family in danger. Shelley was dragged to meet Wallace, who told her he was looking for her husband. She told him her husband was dead a long time ago. But he showed her a news headline about a Bigfoot. He said her husband was a Bigfoot, and he would stop at no end until he found him. Meanwhile, Trapper and Weecher were scanning for food in a waste bin close to the restaurant that Hairco and his men were in. They saw a picture of Adam with a price for anyone who would find him. Just at that moment, Shelley was dragged into a car. They both recognized her. Adam and his father were having a good time together when Trapper brought the poster they had seen. They told Dr. Harrison that Hairco and his men were approaching the forest. Adam decided to turn himself in as he felt that would stop the search. They grabbed him and put him in the room where his mom was. He apologized for running away. He told his mom that many people were looking for his dad. He told her she shouldn't worry as his father was hidden under a cave close to the waterfall. Immediately Wallace heard this, he ordered his men to head towards the location. They discovered they were tricked when they got there as the water came out in a high torrent and poured on their bodies. Hairco orders that Shelley be taken home. At the same time, he takes Adam with him in his car into the forest. Hairco tried to get Adam to disclose his father's location. When he saw that Adam wouldn't give in, he ordered his men to set the forest on fire. Then he stepped out of the car and pushed it into the fire with Adam in it. The car went up in flames. Adam tried to break the glass. He was getting weak as he was almost running out of breath. But Bigfoot immediately came to his rescue. He tore the car open and saved Adam. But just as he was about to take a turn, Hairco shot him with an injection, making him faint. Wilbur quickly came to his rescue when a tree wanted to fall on Adam. Hairco captured Bigfoot and dragged him up into his plane. Adam went unconscious and, when he opened his eyes, saw Wilbur and the rest of the forest fam. When they confirmed that he was okay, they told him to take care as they made to leave in search of another place to stay since the forest was already set up in flames. Adams talked them into joining him to find his father. So, they all set out to find Harrison. Meanwhile, Wallace was already experimenting with Bigfoot's DNA. He told Bigfoot that he would hurt his family if he made things hard for them. The team hijacks one of the convoys leading to Hairco. After extracting Bigfoot DNA, Hairco asked his scientists to test it on the intern they always use for their practice. When the convoys arrived, Adam used his echolocation to scan the building. He asked Steve, the woodpecker, to take out the security cameras while the rest headed inside. They broke into the tech room, and the guard went unconscious out of fear. They began scanning the room for anything they could use to defend themselves from where Harrison was held captive. But a ton of security guards were heading toward the tech room. Wilbur held the door firm to prevent the guards from entering while Adam and the rest searched. When they got all they needed, Adam headed towards the lab. The team joined hands to fight off the guards. After facing many hindrances, Adam could get past all the guards with the help of Wilbur and Tina. But the rest of the team was captured and locked in separate cages. Adam entered the lab and tried to free his dad as they were already extracting his DNA. Dr. Harrison told Adam to return home and that he would be fine. Hairco entered and led Adam out, taking him out of where the animals were being kept captive. He told Adam he was going to be rich, and he should take it that his father was on a business trip. Adam scanned around him and saw a fire alarm bell. He rushed, hit the alarm, and ran back inside as the door closed immediately. Water started pouring on Wallace, so he called security and asked them to shut down the fire alarm. But the security man was recovering from the knockout, and when he heard fire, he turned on the main alarm bell. And the security man immediately started running out. Adam ran back and released Tina. He gave her the security pass and asked her to open all cages. Then he ran back to the lab where his father was held captive. But Dr. Harrison still wasn't ready to leave. So Adam threatened to tell Hairco he was also a Bigfoot if he didn't come with him. At her home, Shelley asked the guards with her about her son and threatened to report them to the police. One of the guards went up to use the restroom. He saw a hair in the waste bin and called his second. They called Wallace, telling him that Adam was also a Bigfoot. At Hairco, there was lots of confusion as all the animals were released and chased the guards who kept running out due to the false fire alarm. Adam and his dad hurried towards the control room so they could shut down and destroy the building. They began to destroy all controls, leading it to raise another alarm and closing the entrance door. They tried to look for an exit. The only way out was through the roof. They were able to come out, but it was onto the building. They found a zip line and used it to land on the bridge in front of Wallace and the rest of the Hairco team. They also had Shelley with them. Wallace shot Bigfoot multiple times with the asthenia-infused injection. He said he didn't need Bigfoot anymore since Adam also had the same DNA, so he pushed Bigfoot down from the bridge. He turned to Adam, and when he tried to get him back inside, Adam brought out the flare gun he had with him earlier. He shot it into the building. The shot found its way into the control room, and the building went up in flames. The guards all ran back as the bridge started destroying. Adams jumped down to find his father. Wallace watched in horror as his company went down. When he tried to jump over, he fell to the ground. Adam found his unconscious father, and when he placed his hands on him, he discovered he also had a healing touch. He used this and brought his father back to consciousness. They hugged each other as the rest of the Jumble family joined. Wallace showed up again, pointing the gun at Bigfoot, but Shelley shot him first. They all had a family hug. Dr. Harrison returned home with his family and the rest of his Jumble mates. Wallace was arrested and jailed. Harrison began to live happily together with the animals. Steve wakes him up in the morning. Tina helps him with his brushing, and his dad cooks breakfast. As he headed to school, the bullies blocked his way. He asked them to let him be as he didn't want to fight. But when they wouldn't, he called on his troops, and they all dealt with the boys. Trapper kids lose the screw from their bicycles. Wilbur scared them off. They fell off on the way. The movie ends as Adam goes to school together with Eva. Turns out she has always liked him.